People who fly privately lose hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. Why is that? There's so much information in the world. This is what Tony Robbins says. But people don't need more information. There's so much information out there. They need wisdom. And I'm not claiming to be the wisest person, but I am going through Proverbs right now. And wisdom is more precious than gold. There are 4 ways to fly privately: charter, jet card, fractional, whole ownership. But who tells you what's the best path for you? Because there are some guys who buy the jet that should just be chartering, and there are people that are chartering that should be buying the jet. So what are we doing? I built a tool that tells you exactly what you should be doing, and we're going to work through that together. You're going to see sort of the back end. This is very exciting. I named it Jarvis. I don't want copyright infringement. So now it is the JET Acquisition Decision Evaluator, and we're going to talk to JADE. I'm going to go through this. Bear with me, long form content people, okay? We're going to settle in. If we have bad inputs, we get bad outputs, okay? So, minimum size aircraft, let's say I fly in a mid-sized jet. Let's do this actually for a client of mine. Addison, we fly 2 times a month, there and back, 48 days, and then let's just say the average is 3 hours and there and back. Cabo, Rosemary, let's go to NYC. Okay, infrequent but far. I literally had a guy who had me quote him a trip from, I think it was like Oklahoma City to Dubai. $410,000 for a Gulfstream. I'm like, dude, just go Emirates first class. It's lay flat. They have showers on these things now. Like, you can handle TSA for 1 time a year, okay? So let's just say maybe London. Okay, typical number of passengers. Now, this isn't for the 1 time a year you go to Bandon Dunes, for example. There it is, Bandon Dunes. I should be at Bandon Dunes right now. Matt Pinnell, I'm calling you out. You're gonna buy something for your mission, okay? 80% of the time max, let's just buy something that we need. You buy a bird for 80 to 90% of your mission. Baggage, normal, yep. Travel with golf clubs. I literally just put that in there to see if you're a golfer or not, because that means we're gonna be friends. Blend of both: day trips, long stuff, multiple stops. Rarely, unless we of course have to go to Sheboygan and play Whistling Straits, and then we get a flight into Coosa and do Sand Valley in the same day. Okay, fine. Twist my arm. We'll do it. Travel purpose. Let's do business and pleasure. Now this is nitty gritty when it comes down to like fractional, charter, jet card, like where I can help you here. Like to have control over details, manage my own travel, predictable experience, only pay for what I need, don't need a flight attendant, like to buy in bulk, I like fixed cap rates, I fly nonstop, low profile, privacy level, here we go. Minimum lead time before departing and booking flights. This is like nitty gritty, okay? This is where I can help you out. 72. Sometimes you book with the wrong, you buy the wrong fractional program and you need way more flexibility and you needed something else. So let's say rarely. Are we flexible? Sure. Not flying unaccompanied minors under 18. Things you don't think about. Do you need more than 1 plane at a time? No. If you get a corporate thing, you might actually. I'm going to say no here just because, like, if we need something big, we can charter it. I don't need to buy something and pay $1.5 million more a year to operate it, because I might take that 1 hunting trip to Alaska or something, you know. Fixed cap rates, enclosed lavatory. Yes. You ever tried to use the potty on a Mustang or a TBM? No thanks. Guaranteed Wi-Fi. Sure, we work there. Would we use these companies again? Sure. Open to working with a boutique, smaller providers? Yep. Anything? Let's just say we fly with a dog. Tax planning. All right, we're almost there. Yes, I need a write-off this year. Very lumpy. Had a big old nugget come in. Average annual income a year. Let's just say it's 2.5. And you'll see why I'm doing this later. Would you allow your aircraft to be chartered while you're not using it? Sure. I'll take a look at that. Get the results. Hey, whole aircraft ownership. Okay, 95% match. This is cool. Now, complete control and customization, max tax advantages, depreciation, potential charter revenue offset, important considerations, ongoing headache, of course, unless you used Claire Aviation. Ready for the next step? Okay. And it looks like my alternate here is going to be charter, 70% match. So that's kind of cool. All right, so if you want expert guidance, you guys ready to get nerdy with me? Let's go. We booked, listen, I read the tea leaves. I knew what was going on here. This is exactly how we're going to break it down. Let's just say your budget was $5 million. You could have told me it was 30 and then we could buy whatever we wanted. But you're going to buy a mid-size to a super mid. You're going to base it in Dallas. You want to get basically anywhere with 4 people nonstop. Fine. These birds will do it. The too long didn't read version of this. If you're flying at 150 hours a year, so this is Citation Excel. And again, if you're spending $5 million on a Lear 45, you hired the wrong broker. All right, so we have 150 owner hours, okay? And let's just conservatively say they can do another 450. Now, what's interesting is look when I turn off charter mode, how much cheaper the crew expense, because you know when you do charter, especially if you're running it high, you're gonna need another guy. So we're gonna make sure the Lear 45 and the Gulfstream all have the same numbers. Let's just quickly go through this and then we can get so nerdy. You guys are gonna love this. Fuel burn, so your DOCs on a Citation Excel, 3,100 an hour. Your fixed cost if you're running it charter, 1.7. So too long didn't read, it's gonna cost you $312,000. Now, watch this. If I turn off charter mode, now it costs you $2 million. Now you're not making money, okay? At least not yet. We need to factor in a number of key things a little later in the video here. Let's turn charter mode back on. All right, so we're at 312,000, okay? For the Lear 45, our DOCs are 3,300. Fixed cost about the same. Your annual budget's gonna be $500,000 for Lear 45. Now again, I have charter rates in here for both these birds at about 7,000. For the Gulfstream, I put 9,000, super mid, much bigger. Now, I showed a Lear 45 to a couple of guys. And they're like, we can't sit in this tiny little tube. We need something bigger than that. So they needed a G200. Fuel's $5 a gallon. Obviously, you're going to pay $1,000 more an hour when you're flying this bird. Direct operating costs and your fixed costs are just going to be higher. You're flying super mid. That's just kind of what happens. Your hangar goes up, your insurance goes up, etc. I factored in a management and an operator fee here. Management companies literally invent ways to screw you, okay? And if you're a jet owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I work with the guys who don't. The people that I recommend are extremely transparent. They win when you win. We speak normal language, not pie in the sky language, okay? That's for free. I don't know why I'm on a diatribe there. Charter revenue on each one of these birds, variable cost of charter, all of that. Payment schedule, I kind of baked all this stuff in, so we didn't need to too long didn't read here. Let's just say your loan amount, you spent $5 million on the bird. Your loan's $4, that's about your payment, okay? We can compare all of these birds, which is great. So we can go toe-to-toe. Again, these are national averages. When you hire us, we go in, we actually get you actual hangar quotes, actual insurance quotes, actually, tell you what your crew is going to cost. Spec comparison, this is good. We get you in birds, you sit in them, we charter them, we feel them. Like you're spending millions of dollars. You're not going to test fly one of these birds? Of course you are. And then trip cost analysis. This is super fun, different video. We can go down here. Depreciation analysis. You can go bonus, part 91, part 135. All of the calculations, range maps, etc. All right, you ready to get really nerdy? Now, I built the spreadsheet for this video basically alone, okay? We need to be adults here and not bury our heads in the sand because you sell your company for $50 million. You take some money off the table, they write you a check for 20. You still got to work for the company for 2 to 4 years. They're going to give you 10 million over that course. And then you have a balloon at the end for another 20 based on whatever the heck. Private equity, they always have their gotchas. They want to make sure that they're profitable too. So average now, you're going to be bringing home $2.5 million annual income. I use Dan Martell's calculator. Listen, there are 40 work hours in a week. There are 50 work weeks in a year, 2,000 work hours annually. Multiplier. This is where it's interesting. My time is not as valuable as Warren Buffett, even if we have the exact same amount of money, which, shocker, we don't. He just retired as a CEO. He has precious little time. I mean, he just does. Can we be honest? I might have less time. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. But the fact of the matter is that his multiplier on the value of his time is going to be much higher than mine. I'm just a truth teller, okay? Can you give me a little grace in the comments? Pipe down. Now, your hourly rate on your valuable time is this. Annual flight hours, 150. Commercial to private ratio. This is very simply explained. Let's say you're going from Austin, Texas to New York City. If you're flying privately, I charter you a jet. It goes direct. It's about 3.5 hour flight, depending on what you do. You're having lunch in Manhattan because you land in Teterboro. You get a Uber Black. It's 25 minutes, and you're having lunch at your favorite deli. You might be having dinner in Manhattan if you fly commercial. Same takeoff time, connection in Dallas, they lose your bags, you're randomly selected, you get frisked, you sat by someone who smells at you, and they told you that your overhead was too big and you had to gate check in and pay for it. What are we doing? Again, diatribe, but any inconvenience in public travel, I do not complain, because the guy who's worth $200 million ain't dealing with this. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Let's say if you're using this for business too, you've got executives, they have a blended annual comp package of 400 grand, and you're using the bird about 60% of the time. Plus, when you fly privately, and you know this is true if you've done it, it's like being in the 90s again, even if you have Wi-Fi. Because if you book all of your family or all of your execs or whatever, everyone's got, oh, I'm in 27B, I'm 15A, I'm 2C. You know, it's like you're not talking to each other. When you're in a private jet, you're in a living room. You're writing songs together if you're in a band. Like that's happened in our private jets. You're playing cards. You're dreaming. You're talking about deal structure. You know, it's just way more intimate with the people that you want to be intimate with. That's the whole point. It's flying living room. Your time arbitrage value here annually is $500,000. That's going to come in handy. Now, this is a soft calculator, right? Now we're going to go into sort of the hard calculation because, listen, you aren't a spreadsheet. You are a human being. There is a cost associated with, do you know that when you fly commercial, you have 700 touch points with other humans? For me, that's amazing because I'm an extrovert. I love it. I don't love flying commercial. I'd rather fly private, don't get me wrong. But you're getting sick, the cognitive load of all the decisions that you have to make, the stress of security and all of it. Like there is a tax. When you fly private, you're refreshed when you come home. When you fly commercial, you're exhausted. You want to take a shower and you don't want to do anything for the next day. Tax savings. You bought a $5 million bird, 100% bonus depreciation because you use Claire Aviation to advise you. Federal tax bracket, whether you live in California or Texas, is going to be the same thing. I still don't understand that, but because you're 54% in California, but it doesn't apply to state tax. $1.85 million in tax savings. That otherwise would have gone directly into Uncle Sam's pocket to be completely mismanaged. Sorry, I'm not sorry, but Congress, you can't balance a budget. You have failed every audit for the past 5 years. I'll get off my diatribe. You don't need to be right or left to understand that. Okay? Recapture. Now, you made $50 million. Once you buy a jet, once you're in the mafia, you're kind of in the mafia, right? You don't want to have that recapture. You get on the hamster wheel, you don't want to. I'm going to give you worst case scenario. Let's say we got to sell the bird in 3 years. We're going to own it for 3. We sell it for 4. You've got a recapture of 1.5. All right, this is where it gets fun. Purchase price 5, LTV 80%. You're putting $1 million down. Okay, loan amount was 4, interest rate 7. Preston Holland, very sorry. Maybe you can't find a Citation Excel with a 20-year amortization, but sorry, I'm going to put it in there. Holding period 3, there's your tax rate, exit price. All right, so our cash flow here on the Citation Excel was $313,000. So you got a negative cash flow because you're using the bird. You're not going to make money in private aviation. Not incentivized to say that, but I'm going to tell you. Bonus depreciation, there we go. Your tax savings in year 1 is $1.85 million. Operating cash flow year after year, it's going to be negative $940. There's your payment. Remaining balance at the end of the term because you sold it for 4, you'll be positive $300,000. There's your recapture. Here's where people miss, so don't, okay? If I save you $1.85 million and you put $1 million cash down, what are you doing with the other $850,000 that I found you? You gonna go blow it in Vegas? No. You just sold your company for $50 million. Your money now works for you. In my family offices, if you're not getting an IRR in the teens, what are you doing? You're not beating the stock market. So I'm going to put 12%. Okay. Your future value of that after 36 months let's just say 12%, it's going to be $350,000. These are little things you don't think about. You need to, okay? Now you made it back. You need someone helping you out, holding your hand. Your time arbitrage value year after year is $500,000. Be an adult, okay? Look at me. Don't think that your time isn't valuable. It is. It's the most precious resource that you have. Everyone else that sold their company for $50 or $1 million or more understands this, and they buy back their time. They just do. So don't act like there's not a cost to flying commercial, because there is. It is a luxury. I'm not saying that it isn't, but your time is worth something now, okay? That needs to be factored in, and you can add whatever multiplier, whatever non-multiplier. And it's not like you'll never fly commercial again. A bunch of my clients still fly commercial. They still do. It's convenient. We went with a group and, whatever. This is something that needs to be factored in. Okay. Total inflow, 3.1. Total outflow, 2.5. Your net profit, okay, I'm calculating your time in here. This isn't truly what it's going to cost you, but think about it. You own a private jet now. You're using that as a business tool. You're entertaining high rollers. You have a private jet you're flying around. You're going to get in with the right investors, the right people. Like, you know what I'm talking. I don't need to explain this to someone who's actually qualified, who's going to call me and we're going to set this up. You know it's valuable. So your return, if we're being adults, is 63. Now it isn't this, right, on a hard, true and fast spreadsheet, but it is because this is your net wealth delta here. There are just benefits to owning a private jet. You can't put on a spreadsheet. I'm doing my best to do so because you aren't a spreadsheet. You're a human and you need to steward your health, your time, your finances, all of that. They're not separate. It's not a vacuum. It's a holistic approach, and that's what Clara Aviation does. Now, if you're qualified and you want to know, should I charter jet card fractional whole ownership? Let's build this out together. I'm not hard to get a hold of, okay? Inquiries at claraaviation.com. If you want to see more, you have questions, or something I said was totally cap and you want to cross-check me, please. I'm a truth teller. I'm bringing transparency to aviation because no one talks about this. Even ChatGPT thinks that the charter rate for a Citation XL is $3,400 an hour. What are we doing, AI? That is completely inaccurate. So you can't even trust large language models to figure this stuff out. I don't have everything figured out, but I try my best to do so. I'm here to save people money, and I'm here to save people time. Would love to work with you. Hit me up, and we'll see you in the next video. Yada.